And so far, I don't know anyone that got there and actually read the pews and said it means A, B, C, and D. And actually, I believe, if I'm correct, you could correct me if I'm wrong, the church actually changed their stance.
Yes.
I remember seeing, like I said, I remember seeing a few weeks back, Garfield hit me, another brother Salter on Sinetta TV. Shout out to him, and he hit me, and he brought out some interesting points, saying the same thing. Some people can muddy the waters when they get out here, and they'll start promoting themselves as a professional in a specific field, and because they want to promote their agenda so bad. Not saying that they're doing it intentionally attempting to mislead the people, but that they want to really promote something so bad.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. Shonda asked about my faith, I believe.
Okay, yeah. Somebody wrote McCall. Yes, I'm sorry, Cisco. Yeah.
Oh, so yes, I am a Roman Catholic. Yes. I am a Roman Catholic.
Wait, that don't sound right. Just wait 1 second. That don't sound right. That don't sound right. That don't sound right. That don't sound right. That don't sound right.
Now, for all of you raw niggers that don't know, my name is John Tibbets, William Ford's chief carpenter. You will refer to me as master. Now, Mr. Chapin is the overseer on this plantation. You two will refer to him as master. So clap your hands. Like this. Come on. Come on now. Clap your hands. Nigger run, nigger flew, nigger tore his shirt in two. Run, run, a patty roller get you. Run, nigger, run, well, you better get away. You better get away. You better get away. You better get away.
Vocab Malone, and I am with my man today, Jay the producer. Jay the producer. Oh, I got another idea. Brother Jay, have you ever sang parodies before? You know, a parody, like a satire song?
Have I ever sung one?
Yeah, a parody.
No, I've never sung a parody, man.
I'm not gonna put you on the spot right now, but check it out. I wrote a parody to something, bro. I think that this thing's hilarious. I'm gonna see if you're down to do it, and I'm gonna make a video out of this joint. You know that song by Miley Cyrus, "Party in the USA"?
Yeah.
Yo, slavery in the USA, bro.
Oh man.
I got a whole song, man, and I can't sing it.
Talk about that one
All right.
In boxing, the most dangerous punch is the punch you don't see. Why did I choose not to accept the challenge to debate John Mark Reiser in regards to the pews? Why did I tell him that I don't have to prove myself to him? Why is Abu, the Roman Catholic, so aggressive in his quest to debunk the pews in Savannah, Georgia? I want to answer the question as to why I refuse to debate John Mark Reiser, aka Vocab Malone, about the pews in Savannah, Georgia. Why I made it clear to him, Abu, and the rest of the urban apologetic community that I don't owe them an explanation. You don't just slap a person in the face and then turn around and ask that person what's wrong. I don't have to show them any receipts, permission slips, or a hall pass for that matter. Show me one video of these guys questioning the Jewish community as we know them with the same zeal that they direct towards our community. I will prove that the urban apologists operating under the spirit of the slave catcher. See, many of our brothers and sisters within Christianity and the conscious community are heavily influenced by this suppressive spirit. For example, show me the receipts. Where did this phrase originate? To answer the questions, I will start by reading the Slave Patroller's Oath that's posted on the lawenforcementmuseums.org. If you really want to address the police behaviors towards our community, it starts with understanding the culture of the slave catcher. As I read this oath, I will replace John Tibbet's name from the movie clip you just saw to John Mark Reiser, aka Vocab Malone. I, Vocab Malone, do swear that I will, as searcher for guns, swords, and other weapons among the slaves in my district, faithfully and privately as I can, discharge the trust reposed in me as the law directs, to the best of my power. So help me God. I want to use another reference. I want to highlight another reference. It's called Slave Patrol Law and Violence in Virginia and Carolinas, written by Chelsea Hansen, page 12. It says, again, in this revised 1688 version of this slave law, the burden of capturing runaways was explicitly placed on all white men. In other words, all masters, overseers, and other persons whatsoever who were required to give wandering slaves with no tickets a sound whipping and detain them until the owner could retrieve them. As you see, again, no tickets, no receipts. Anyone from the Caucasian community had the power to ask that slave for their ticket or show his receipts, authorizing him to leave that plantation. If that slave did not have one, then the person asking had the authority to beat that slave, to punish that slave, to lock that slave up. It goes on to say, the law now mandated that bondsmen have passes when leaving their plantations, as it is absolutely necessary to the safety of this place. The historian Hilary Beckles has observed that in this sense, the entire white community functioned under the law as a collective police force. And this is what we're seeing in the urban apologetic community. This is the behavior. Page 6 says, Southern whites feared their slaves and needed mastery over them. The beginnings of a formal, organized, and public slave patrol system in the antebellum South can be traced to the private, informal, and sometimes voluntary efforts of Spanish and individual colonists in the New World had to experience difficulty controlling their slaves before the rest of the white community would intervene to help restrict slave behavior. Spaniards might entice English colonists, slaves, to freedom by giving bondsmen a safe haven as runaways or by encouraging them to act as fifth column forces during battle. See, fugitive bondsmen caused reoccurring trouble for Spanish and Portuguese settlers. By the 1520s, runaways already posed problems for Spanish authorities in colonial Mexico. Fugitives had to be hunted down lest they inspire others to flee. Page 11 says this: the historian Richard Dunn has written that overseers were expected to keep the Negro cabins under close surveillance, searching twice a month for stolen goods, clubs, and wooden swords. Unlike in the Spanish colonies, few indications suggest that white Barbadians used former bondsmen as slave catchers and the militia. The failure of privately paid slave catchers in the 1650s may have influenced the 1661 Slave Code, the first comprehensive law regulating slaves in Barbados. The new law shifted the job of the slave control firmly onto the shoulders of all whites, not just overseers. The preamble to the act for the better ordering of governing of Negroes reveals the motivating impulse behind the law's enactment. Slaves were a heathenish, brutish, and dangerous kind of people who had to be controlled. Their propensity to wander away from their master's plantation, either to run away deliberately or to steal goods and then resell them for personal gain, had long been the bane of Barbadian planters' lives. Constables and other white Barbadians shared responsibility for apprehending runaways who managed to flee their home. I want to highlight another reference as we tie this behavior of the slave catchers to the urban apologetic community. This is coming from African and African American Studies. Descriptive article, Early Modern History, 1492 through 1789. Economic History, Political History, World History, October 19, 2016. It says, this was not an easy task, but these Englishmen did have a number of Irish prisoners serving various sentences. They decided on a way for these Irish prisoners to work off their sentences on Barbados sugar plantations that sent thousands of indentured Irish prisoners to Barbados. Just this article alone completely debunks the Irish were slaves too. The argument that tends to surface during each presidential election cycle since President Obama was elected. Many would try to use these phrases to try to tell us that they were enslaved and they got over it, so we need to get over it too. These were Irish prisoners, not slaves. They were indentured servants. So it goes on to say, between 1627 and 1807, more than 400,000 Africans, mainly originating from West Africa, had been brought to Barbados as slaves to work on sugar plantations. The English planters would request to receive more slaves whenever they believed they needed more for the plantations. The Africans were viewed as nothing more than interchangeable machine parts in the process of sugar production. The treatment experienced by the Africans was among the most inhumane in human history. It goes on to say in Article 3, and it further enacts and ordained that if any Negro or other slaves under punishment by his master unfortunately shall suffer in life or member, which seldom happens, no person whatsoever shall be liable to any fine thereof. This is the reason why John Mark Reiser, aka Vocab Malone, Abu, Eric Mason, Damon Richardson, and the rest of the entire community of the urban apologists do not have a remorseful bone in their body. John Mark Reiser, aka Vocab Malone, made it clear that he's not remorseful for offending anyone in our community with his racist parodies.
But what I do want to address, and why I want to come on here to address it again, is to say the same thing I said back then. I had the video on my channel, but I took it off. If anybody went on my channel, I took it off. I called the UPK radio station, and I did it as well on my channel. I gave a public apology to those in the Black Hebrew Israelite community, and even some Christians that were rubbed the wrong way with it. I was convicted about it only because of this reason, and this reason only why I don't do parodies now, is that when we're talking about being ministers, of the gospel, one of the principles that we're supposed to live by is to live to not give an offense. Like as the apostle says, to the Jews, to the Greeks, neither to the church of God. At that time, that was something I did that, I was convicted about. I was in the movement. I knew the message was true, but how it came off was it messed a lot of people the wrong way. And so my main goal, being a former member of the movement, is to win brothers and sisters out of it to Christ. And if doing something like that, even if I say it was fun and games or whatever the case is, but if it's going to rub them the wrong way, then it's best I abstain from doing stuff like that. And so that's why I took it off my channel. That's why, I don't share it or anything like that. That's why I don't do parodies no more now, because of that type of thing. So I wanted to come on here. That's why I asked for the link. One, to give, re-say it again, but for those in the movement that was, anybody in or out of the movement, if you was, offended by the parody video, I personally apologize for it. I did the singing on it.
How is it you going against camel doctrine when you have a parody where you're pouring down camel pee, which of course is apple juice, down John McCrae's throat? Because it's a bad idea for people to drink camel pee.
And so the parody is showing why Islam is bad. It's bad for the black community. It's bad for every other type of community. And it's bad for your health, because drinking camel pee, despite what Muslim apologists say, is not a good thing. And the parody is showing that. And if you had your blinders off, you'd realize, hey, man, we shouldn't really want to have people drink camel pee. I'm glad this is there, because I didn't know that. Now, you said, well, you have people being blowed up and all this. Well, if you paid attention, we also have people, the main people that we deal with in the Boom Boom Room are white folks. We blow up, we have a KKK episode. We have all kinds of episodes. So it's not like we're going around and this is what's happening. Why did we have the Torah upside down, though, in the Hebrew Israelite episode, which was not my idea. It was my man Operation Apologetics idea, which I thought was a good idea.
Deuteronomy 28:37 says, "And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, a byword among all nations, whither Yahweh shall send thee." In other words, we will become the butt end of a joke. We will become the butt end of songs that will be sang about us, mocking us, as we see displayed by the urban apologists. So the last point I want to make is the origins of the song you heard in the movie clip titled "Run N-Word Run." This is the song the slave catchers sang as they searched out to hunt our people. Here's an updated remix of this song.